You ever walk into a room and feel every eye sizing you up, like you're some kind of imposter who wandered into the wrong zip code? That's exactly how it felt for Ellie Harper, dragging her beat-up duffel bag into the sleek, glassy halls of tech mogul Nathan Blake's coastal estate in Monterey. She wasn't there to sip champagne or admire the view. She was there for his daughter, Sophie, a kid everyone said was beyond fixing. I'm talking about a little girl, barely 8, stuck in a wheelchair, her eyes distant, like she was watching a world she couldn't touch. The staff whispered about spinal damage, a hopeless case, but Ellie, she saw something else, something nobody else bothered to notice. Ellie wasn't your typical nanny. No frills, no polish, just a woman in a faded flannel and scuffed boots, her hair yanked back in a messy bun, freckles dotting her face like she'd spent too many nights under desert stars. She'd been a field medic, you see, patched up soldiers in war zones, held hands through final breaths, worked miracles in places where hope was a rare commodity. But this mansion? It was a different kind of war, one fought with smirks and whispers, where people cut you down without ever raising a fist. The butler, a guy named Victor with a face like he'd swallowed a lemon, gave her one look and muttered, "Don't touch anything you're not paid to." Ouch, right? But Ellie just tugged her bag closer, the wheels scraping the marble floor, and followed him, her eyes catching Sophie's wheelchair by the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Pacific Ocean glittering like it was mocking the kid's stillness. Now, let me paint the scene for you. The staff room was like a viper's nest, sharp voices, sharper egos. There was Marcus, the medical aide, always clutching his clipboard like it was a shield, barking orders about Sophie's meds like Ellie was some rookie who couldn't read a label. "Stick to the schedule, or you're out," he snapped, not even looking up. Then there was Clara, the tutor, all glossy hair and designer scarves, who leaned in with a fake smile and said, "Sweetie, those jeans, are they from a clearance rack?" The room erupted in laughs, housekeepers and assistants joining in, their eyes slicing through Ellie's plain clothes. Clara wasn't done, though. She leaned closer, voice dripping with honey and venom. "What's a nanny know about spinal rehab? Just read her bedtime stories, hon." Ellie didn't blink. She set her bag down, slow and steady, and said, "I'll stick to what works." The laughter died like someone yanked the plug. Clara's smile twitched, but she flipped her scarf and turned away, like Ellie wasn't worth her time. In Sophie's room, though, it was different. Ellie knelt by the wheelchair, her hands careful, tracing the stiff braces on the girl's legs, frowning at the sedative patch on her neck. Something was off. Those braces were more like shackles, and that patch? Way too strong for a kid. She pressed gently on Sophie's foot, watching for a flicker of response. The big toe twitched, just a hair, but enough to make Ellie's pulse jump. She'd seen this before: soldiers labeled "done," kids written off by doctors too busy to care. "You're still in there, aren't you?" she whispered, her voice soft, like a secret just for Sophie. The girl's fingers brushed Ellie's sleeve, and for a second, the room didn't feel so cold. The next morning, breakfast was a minefield. Marcus hovered, snapping, "Don't touch the braces Theory prescribed," when Ellie reached to loosen one. Clara, scrolling her phone, muttered, "Some people think they're doctors because they Googled rehab." A housekeeper chimed in, "She's just here for a paycheck, won't last a week." Ellie ignored them, spooning oatmeal for Sophie, her hands steady. But when Clara leaned over, smirking, "You're embarrassing yourself in that outfit," Ellie locked eyes with her and said, "I'm here for Sophie, not a runway." The room went dead quiet, forks clinking awkwardly. Out in the garden later, pushing Sophie's wheelchair over gravel paths, Ellie felt the staff's eyes from the terrace. A groundskeeper, a guy named Hank with a smirk that screamed trouble, called out, "Careful, Nana didn't trip over those boots. They've seen better days." His buddies laughed, their voices sharp over the jasmine-scented air. When he added, "You think you're going to fix that kid? She's been broken forever." Ellie stopped, turned, and stared him down. "Broken's not a word I use for people," she said, her voice low, cutting through the noise. Hank's smirk faded, and he suddenly found his rake fascinating. Sophie's hand reached back, brushing Ellie's fingers, like she was saying, "I heard you." Things got darker when Ellie found Sophie's medical files in the staff lounge, pages marked with red ink. No progress expected. Permanent damage. Marcus's handwriting, careless, like Sophie was just a case to close. Ellie flipped through, her jaw tight, spotting a photo of a younger Sophie, laughing, her legs free of braces. She tucked it in her pocket, ignoring the whispers from staff lingering nearby. She's delusional, one muttered. But Ellie was already heading to Sophie's room, that photo burning a hole in her heart. That night, everything shifted. Sophie's breathing turned shallow, her skin clammy, pupils like pinpricks. Ellie's training kicked in. Seen overdoses in the field, kids given wrong doses in understaffed clinics. She laid Sophie on her side, dimmed the lights, and ripped off the sedative patch, checking the dosage stamp. Way too high. Stay with me, Sophie, she murmured, her voice steady but urgent. When Victor hesitated to unlock the medical cabinet, Ellie's move was like a blade. He moved. The oxygen tank hissed, Sophie's vitals stabilized, and Nathan Blake appeared in the doorway, his face pale. What did you do? He asked, voice low. Ellie didn't look up. Saved her, she said, simple as that. By morning, the mansion was buzzing. Nathan's sister, Diana, a woman with icy eyes and a voice like a whip, cornered Ellie in the hall. You're stirring up trouble, playing hero to cozy up to my brother, she hissed, her perfume sharp enough to choke. By noon, a gossip blog screamed, Nanny defies Billionaire's protocol. Marcus locked the medical room, jangling keys with a smug grin. No more equipment for you. Clara switched Sophie's lessons to a tablet, refusing Ellie's motor exercises, snapping, stick to diapers. Sophie, tucked in her wheelchair, started to cry. Ellie knelt, wiping her tears, whispering, we're not stopping. She slipped a sensory ball into Sophie's hand, watching her fingers close tight. Ellie didn't sleep much after that. She sat at her desk, her old medical kit open, scribbling notes about Sophie's reflexes, her eye movements, the tremor in her leg when she was tired. The mansion's smart app showed the sedative patches had been swapped early, dosages creeping up. Someone was doing this on purpose. Ellie took the evidence to Nathan, sliding the tablet across his desk. The patches are overdosing her. It's not paralysis. It's suppression. Nathan's fingers gripped the tablet, his jaw working. You're sure? He asked. Ellie nodded. Medics don't guess. He called the doctor, the insurance rep, his voice sharp. By noon, the sedatives were gone, and Ellie had a key to the medical room. But Diana's eyes followed her, cold as ever. The rehab started small. Ellie moved a standing frame to the playroom, swapped rigid braces for softer ones. Marcus unplugged the frame, citing safety. Clara called security when Ellie hung a pull-up bar, claiming it was hazardous. On day 3, Ellie set up a sensory mat with soft music. Mid-song, it cut off, and Sophie froze, clutching a napkin that smelled faintly of mint. Ellie checked the kitchen cameras later, her heart sinking. Diana, handing Sophie that napkin, her smile too tight. The tension broke in the staff dining room. Diana sat at the head, her earrings glinting, sipping coffee. Some people think they can play hero for a paycheck, she said, loud enough for everyone. A young chef piped up. Yeah, sticking your nose where it doesn't belong backfires. Ellie, feeding Sophie mashed potatoes, didn't flinch. When Diana added, this family doesn't need amateurs, Ellie set the spoon down, her fingers brushing Sophie's hair. This family needs Sophie to walk, she said, quiet but clear. Diana's coffee cup froze midair, the room silent. That evening, Ellie held up the tagged napkin in the playroom, her voice calm. This is Diana's special napkin. The staff froze. Diana's face drained, her hands twisting her necklace. Nathan stepped in, phone to his ear, calling his lawyer. You're done, he told Diana, his voice final. To Ellie, he said, your plan runs this house now. Diana's heels clicked as she left, hands shaking. The next morning, a note slid under Ellie's door. You're ruining everything. Leave. The perfume, screamed Diana. Ellie tucked it away, her eyes scanning Sophie's room, the locked window, the blinking camera. She wasn't just fighting for Sophie now. She was watching her back. The media went wild. A blurry clip of Sophie lifting her foot hit the internet. Comments calling it a camera trick or placebo nanny. A wheelchair company sent a legal threat, accusing Ellie of defamation. Nathan asked, can you handle this? Ellie didn't blink. Give me 21 days, she said. No interruptions. He nodded, a flicker of trust in his eyes. Every dawn, Ellie worked with Sophie, brushing her skin, rocking her gently, using a metronome to guide her steps. On day 10, Sophie stood for 30 seconds. On day 15, she took a wobbly step, her eyes wide with hope. The staff started to shift. Victor brought juice and cookies, his gruff voice softening. She looks different. Clara's lessons got quieter. Marcus unlocked the medical room without a fight. But the outside world kept pushing rumors of staged miracles, Diana's friends whispering about opportunists. Ellie ignored it, her focus on Sophie's tiny steps, her laughter. On day 21, the mansion was still, morning light soft. Ellie knelt before Sophie, whispering, "You've got this." Sophie took a step, then another, tears streaming down her face. Nathan burst in, dropping to his knees, catching her in his arms. The staff watched, some crying, some silent. Ellie stepped back, her eyes shining. Weeks later, Sophie chased a butterfly in the garden, her steps uneven but strong. The staff nodded to Ellie now, their voices quiet, respectful. Nathan stood beside her, his shadow on the grass. A small drawing from Sophia crayon sketch of two figures holding hands sat in Ellie's notebook, next to her notes. The mansion felt lighter, like it could breathe. This isn't just about Sophie walking. It's about those times you've been judged, told you don't belong, but you kept going anyway. The sting of being dismissed, the quiet strength it takes to push through. You know it, don't you? The truth always finds a way to rise. So, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop a comment. Share your story. What's the moment you proved them wrong? Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's keep these stories alive.